Right now, roughly 1 in 3 adults over 60 sleeps flat on their back every single night, and a growing body of research suggests that position may be quietly working against one of the brain's most important overnight jobs. Most people have never heard of this system because it was only properly mapped in the last 15 years. What I'm about to explain isn't about panic. It's about giving you information that simply hasn't made its way into a routine 10-minute doctor's appointment yet. And if you find this kind of explanation useful, hit subscribe and like this video now, because I'm going to be covering the things about aging and brain health that don't usually get talked about clearly. Here's what most people get wrong about sleep position. They think of it purely as a comfort issue. Back sleepers say it's better for their spine, side sleepers say it stops their snoring, and that's usually where the thinking stops. But your brain has its own internal plumbing system, called the glymphatic system. Think of it as the brain's overnight cleaning crew, a network of tiny channels that flush waste out from between brain cells while you sleep. And just like a real cleaning crew works better when the building's drains are angled the right way, research suggests this system may clear waste more efficiently in some sleeping positions than others. Let's talk about what this system is actually doing. During deep sleep, the space between your brain cells widens by up to 60%, allowing cerebrospinal fluid, the clear fluid that cushions your brain and spinal cord, to wash through and carry away metabolic waste products, including a protein called beta-amyloid, which is the same protein that clumps together to form the plaques seen in Alzheimer's disease. This clearance process happens almost entirely during sleep, which is one reason poor sleep and cognitive decline are so closely linked. It is a supply and demand problem. Your brain produces waste all day. It only gets a proper window to clear that waste at night. And after the age of 60, that clearance process naturally slows down, which means the conditions under which you sleep start to matter more than they did in your 30s or 40s. Now here's the part that doesn't usually come up in a routine checkup. Animal studies, primarily in rodents, using direct brain imaging, found that glymphatic clearance was measurably more efficient in the lateral position, lying on your side, compared to lying on the back or on the stomach. Human studies are more limited and rely mostly on indirect imaging methods, so I want to be honest with you. This is an area where the evidence is still developing, and researchers are not yet able to say with certainty exactly how much this matters for long-term brain health in humans. But the mechanism is plausible enough and consistent enough across the animal data that sleep researchers are taking it seriously. Let me walk you through what tends to happen with the positions people fall into without realizing it, and why each one deserves a second look. The first pattern is prolonged flat back sleeping, particularly with a low or absent pillow. What it looks like. You fall asleep on your back and stay there most of the night, often because it's comfortable on an aging spine, or because you've been told it's the correct position. What's happening in the body? Lying flat can allow the soft tissues of the throat to fall backward, narrowing the airway, and in some people this worsens or unmasks sleep apnea, repeated pauses in breathing during the night. Sleep apnea itself has been linked in multiple studies to reduced oxygen delivery to the brain and to disrupted deep sleep, the very stage glymphatic clearance depends on. People dismiss this because they don't wake up gasping every night, and heavy snoring gets brushed off as background noise rather than a warning sign. It matters because the damage here isn't one bad night. It's the cumulative effect of thousands of interrupted nights over years. The second pattern is habitual stomach sleeping, what it looks like. Sleeping face down, often with the neck rotated to one side for hours at a time. What's happening in the body? This position restricts normal neck and spinal alignment, and in the limited imaging studies available, it's the position associated with the least efficient waste clearance of the three. People dismiss it because it feels secure and familiar, often a habit formed decades earlier, and because the downsides are invisible night to night. It matters because if this is your only position, every night is potentially working somewhat against the clearance process rather than with it. The third pattern is one-sided compression, meaning you always sleep on the same side, often the right, with your arm tucked under the pillow or your body. What's happening? This isn't about left versus right being inherently better or worse for the brain. That specific comparison hasn't been well established in humans. But consistently sleeping in one fixed position for years can contribute to nerve compression in the arm and shoulder, waking you repeatedly through the night without you fully remembering it. Fragmented sleep, even when you don't recall waking, reduces the total time spent in deep sleep. People dismiss this because they attribute the shoulder ache to getting older, rather than connecting it to sleep quality. It matters because it's often an easily fixable contributor to poor deep sleep that gets overlooked entirely. Here's a myth I want to correct directly. Many people believe that if you're not diagnosed with sleep apnea and you're not in pain, your sleeping position doesn't affect your brain health at all, that this is purely a comfort preference. That's incomplete. What actually matters is total time spent in uninterrupted deep sleep, because that's the window in which clearance happens. Position is simply one of several factors, alongside alcohol close to bedtime, room temperature, and screen exposure, that can shorten or fragment that window without you ever being formally diagnosed with a sleep disorder. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Margaret, 72 years old, who came in concerned about increasing forgetfulness, misplacing her keys, repeating questions in conversation. Her first instinct, like many people's, was to try a ginkgo biloba supplement she'd read about online, convinced her memory itself was failing. After 8 weeks with no real change, she came back frustrated. Rather than ordering another round of memory tests immediately, the conversation turned to her sleep. It turned out she'd been sleeping flat on her back for years, propped on a single flat pillow, and her husband had mentioned her snoring had become noticeably louder over the past 2 years, something she'd never brought up because she didn't think it was medically relevant. A sleep study confirmed mild obstructive sleep apnea. Many patients described the aftermath the way Margaret did. I didn't realize how exhausted I actually was until I started sleeping properly. I thought this was just what being 70 felt like. With a side sleeping position, an elevated pillow, and treatment for the apnea, her sleep study showed significantly fewer breathing interruptions within 2 months, and she reported feeling mentally sharper within weeks, clearer in conversation, less prone to losing her train of thought. Her memory problem had never been a memory problem at its root. It was a sleep architecture problem wearing a memory problem's clothes. I want to give you something practical to actually use, and I'm calling this the side and slope protocol, because those 2 words capture the whole idea. Step 1 happens before you even get into bed. In the 2 hours before sleep, avoid alcohol, because alcohol relaxes throat muscles further and suppresses deep sleep even in people without diagnosed apnea. Step 2 is positioning. Aim to fall asleep on your side, and if you naturally roll onto your back, try placing a firm pillow or a rolled towel against your lower back. This makes rolling onto your back physically uncomfortable enough to discourage it without waking you fully. Step 3 is elevation. Use a pillow that keeps your head roughly 10 to 15 degrees above flat, which helps keep the airway more open and may support fluid drainage from the brain, since gravity plays a role in this system too. Step 4 is what you eat in the evening. A light dinner including foods with natural magnesium such as almonds, spinach, or pumpkin seeds, eaten at least 3 hours before bed, supports the muscle relaxation needed for deep sleep without the digestive burden of a heavy late meal. And here is the one thing not to do. Do not rely on sleeping pills as your long-term solution for poor sleep position or snoring. Sedative sleep medications can increase the depth of muscle relaxation in the throat, which in some people worsens airway narrowing rather than improving overall sleep quality. You may sleep through the night and still wake up unrefreshed because the underlying mechanical problem hasn't been addressed. If any of this resonates, there are specific tests worth discussing with your doctor rather than trying to self-diagnose. The first is a polysomnography, commonly called a sleep study, which measures your breathing, oxygen levels, and brain activity overnight. It can tell you objectively how much time you're actually spending in deep sleep versus lighter, fragmented sleep. The second is a pulse oximetry test, sometimes done at home, which tracks your blood oxygen saturation through the night. Readings that repeatedly dip below 90% can indicate breathing interruptions worth investigating further. The third, if memory concerns are present alongside sleep issues, is a cognitive screening test such as the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, which gives a baseline score your doctor can track over time, so that any changes are measured against your own history rather than guessed at. How this applies to you does shift with age. In your 60s, the priority is usually establishing consistent sleep position habits and addressing snoring early, because this is the decade where undiagnosed sleep apnea most commonly first appears. In your 70s, deep sleep naturally becomes shorter and lighter for everyone, which makes position and sleep environment proportionally more important, because you have less margin to work with. In your 80s and beyond, joint stiffness or arthritis can make side sleeping physically uncomfortable, so the priority often shifts towards supportive pillows and mattress adjustments that make side sleeping achievable without pain, rather than forcing a position that causes its own sleep disruption. There are certain symptoms that mean you should seek emergency care immediately, not wait for a video or a routine appointment. If you or someone you know experiences sudden confusion that comes on within minutes or hours, especially alongside slurred speech, facial drooping, or weakness on one side of the body, that combination can indicate a stroke, and every minute of delay matters for treatment outcomes. If someone is witnessed to stop breathing for extended pauses during sleep and is difficult to rouse, or wakes gasping with chest pain, that requires urgent same-day medical assessment, not a scheduled appointment weeks away. If sudden severe memory loss appears over the course of days rather than gradually over months or years, that pattern is different from typical age-related change and warrants prompt evaluation. Here is exactly what to do after this video. Notice which position you actually wake up in for the next 3 nights, since most people fall asleep in one position and wake in another. Ask your partner or use a simple phone recording app to check whether snoring has increased over the past year. Try the pillow against the back technique tonight if you tend to sleep on your back. Book an appointment with your doctor specifically to discuss your sleep quality if you notice loud snoring, morning grogginess, or memory lapses together, rather than treating them as separate issues. Everything we covered today is for your understanding and education. Your situation is specific to you, and using this as a starting point for a real conversation with your doctor will always be more useful than trying to manage things on your own. How old are you? Write it in the comments. I want to know which age group this content hits closest to home, so I can focus future videos on exactly where you are right now. If this finally made something about your sleep make sense, hit subscribe and give this video a like. It helps this information reach the people who need to hear it.